All right, so I'm just going to talk about the Pelicans for a bit, and then we can get to other NBA stuff. So, Shams had an update yesterday on the Pat McAfee show. He thinks Zion is nowhere close to returning. Brian Windhorst said a couple of weeks at the minimum for Zion, and we hope that there is not another clash with them wanting to be safe with him and him wanting to just get out there, because that was, of course, rumored to be a problem with them the first time this sort of thing happened. To me, you should be safe with your guy. Now, as far as the max contract extension they're going to give him this offseason, or offer it to him at least, I still think he's going to take it. I understand there's all this noise, but it would just be really, really crazy if he didn't, which maybe I need to accept that. I don't know. To be a little positive for Pelicans fans, I mean, Herb Jones looks awesome on defense. Willie Green seems to be making a good impression on the team. Of course, with Stan Van Gundy, that wasn't the case. And that might be all I've got. I mean, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, they're giving him more ball handling opportunities. I think he looks okay maneuvering around screens, but he's not making shots, and he's also not making open catch and shoots, which is a little weird, and that might bounce back the other way for him. They also have to decide on Jackson Hayes and Alexander Walker's extensions for this offseason. We'll see there. Brandon Ingram is, of course, awesome, and he has still a good amount of time left on his contract, so I don't think you have to be too concerned about him as a Pelicans fan. The Josh Hart contract is also weird. Satoransky could be tradable to a good team. There's also a little rumor going around that David Griffin is on the hot seat. We'll have to see there, but there's a lot of questions with this front office, and I mean, I do feel like if Zion can be healthy, if Ingram can just do what he does, and if Willie Green's better for them than Stan Van Gundy, could they have an offseason, which would be next offseason now, where they're similar to the Bulls, where they get a little more aggressive and they trade some of these extra picks they've got from the Lakers and the Bucks, and they try to put out a good team next season? Is it possible? I mean, no, if Zion's not going to be healthy, but there is perhaps a world where that can happen. They've also got their own pick, but yeah, they're bad. They're like 1-11. Season's effectively over in terms of contending for something, so we'll just see with them. To look at the rest of the league, Gobert, people need to stop acting like they're going to fight on the basketball court. I'm pretty sure Gobert had a chance to fight Miles Turner, and he just kind of hugged him, which I appreciate because I would not want 7-footers punching each other. Steve Kerr, I'm like Arya from Game of Thrones. Media members have a list, checking them off. Bro, when is George dropping Winds of Winter? Do you know how lame it's going to be if the endings to A Song of Ice and Fire are Season 8 and the 5th book? The Trailblazers president is resigning. Does this have anything to do with the investigation on Neil O'Shea? Oh, here's the Gobert Turner thing. All right, so here, listen, Gobert's talking about nobody wants to fight. Listen, right here, man. Here's your chance. What does he do? That. Which, again, I'm fine with, because I would prefer you don't hit each other in the face. But anyway. All right, here's an impromptu Bleacher Report article for you. The first trade chip they've got is Mo Bamba, who has been good this year. They, of course, already gave Wendell that contract. The crazy thing is, though, is that Bamba and Wendell have played a good amount of minutes together this season. So they're trying to make it work with him. I don't know if it's going to end up being the move, but Jerami Grant. This is not a roster built to compete anytime soon. What's the end game with Grant? 27 years old, heart of his prime. Won't be there when his teammates catch up, assuming he's even still in Detroit. I mean, if he wants to stay, I don't think it's crazy to keep him. It's not like it's a crime to have a dude who's approaching 30 on a young team, especially if he's on a bargain contract. I mean, you gotta pay somebody, might as well be a decent NBA player. But at the same time, if he didn't want to come back, like if you got that sense, then okay, makes sense. Or if somebody offered you something really good for him. Cam Reddish for Atlanta. That one's a little wild to me. The Hawks made Reddish available at the deadline and around the draft. I didn't know that. Yeah, Reddish has been very up and down this year. He's had some 20-point games. He's had some 3 or 4-point games. Some games he's awesome from 3, other games he isn't. But he's definitely going in the right direction. I think with Atlanta, it's mainly a question of what does his extension look like, and do they have the room? I mean, they got Herter, who they already gave a contract to. DeAndre Hunter's going to get one. Collins is your power forward. So we'll see. I do think if Cam can be pretty consistent by the tail end of this season, we could have a similar situation to what's going on with Miles Bridges, where suddenly you're like, oh crap, that extension's gonna get a lot more expensive than you initially thought. It would not be a Bleacher Report trade video without a mention of Miles Turner. And this one's interesting. Christian Wood. His contract doesn't have too much time left on it. The Rockets are definitely going to have to pay him. They want to hold on to him past, I think it's next season. I guess it's similar to the Jerami Grant thing. You know, if he doesn't want to stick around and he'd rather go to free agency or whatever, then it makes sense to look for a return. And given his production on top of the huge bargain that he's currently on with his deal, I think you could get a pretty damn good return back for him. But you also need good players, and he's definitely good. So